I mean, let's make it easy.
I mean, you have to take a time to just sit out here and watch God's creatures doing God's things and their purpose. Like this guy. Definitely pollinators. Loves this lavender. Don't we take a break? I just love this lavender.
Pollens over there.
My dude. My dude, like, let's make a lemonade stand for these guys or something.
Work. Yeah.
I don't know how to repay them.
We need some pollens.
Just doing all the work.
These. Gotta get this done.
And this is the weirdest looking bee I've ever seen. I don't know what this thing's loud and it just, I don't know. That's not what a normal bee looks like, right? Am I tripping?
Oh man.
Am I tripping?
No, back to work. Check out this chocolate persimmons. Before the leaves even come out, these things start shooting out fruits. These are self-fertile, so you don't need to. Excuse me. But if you have other persimmons, this can pollinate those. Some persimmons are required to. Look at these little bells. Next to the citrus. I have it here to protect, to get these avocados protected, which is, these are outgrowing everything here. So this side is the western side, sun rising east, sets in the west. So the higher trees I can get on this side, I can start protecting them so I don't have to shade. Well, let's talk about the growing conditions in this. I actually just moved this, but it really doesn't take much. This is a really big pot though, grow bag. This is like a, I don't even know. Let's say that's a 25. I don't even know what this is. This is like easily a 50, maybe even 60. So this is going to be kind of a permanent home. If you do just that 1-to-1 ratio with perlite and peat moss, this isn't too bad to move. I do have some sand in here. Luckily, I'm still young and spry, so I can move this if I absolutely needed to. So theoretically, if you had a pot and you're doing it and you know it's windy here, you don't want to move things, because if you put in decomposed granite or sand in your pots, it's going to be super heavy. So you got to think about the permanent spot for things, and this is a permanent spot. This is where I know it's getting a lot of sun. Persimmons do really well in this climate, and this is where I wanted to be able to protect all that beautiful new growth in there, as you see. I don't do anything different with the soil. Plenty of videos on making soil. So I have my soil. We've got a drip irrigation. I do have, so there's a couple ways to think about it when you're doing drip irrigation. You can, I gotta remove that. I have this guy. You can open, the more that you open it, the further out that it shoots, right? So, but that also means more water that's being used. So sometimes you can think about it as you can have like a bunch of, oh, that's not even connected. I thought it was connected. But you can have a bunch of these placed in various spots around the pot to get the whole area watered. You can have something like this that's just shooting water everywhere. But then you also have the pot underneath, which is hard to see because it's so big. Water collects under there and it'll water the pot from the bottom. In some cases, some places, like if you have things in pots, like indoors or wherever, you can water from the bottom and the soil will leach the water from the bottom. What that does, a lot of the people that do it that way is because of the salts in things. The salts will stay in the pot or in the saucer, and it's kind of a healthier way to water your plant in a way. So like if realistically I could put drip irrigation in the pot, let that get a bunch of water, and then let the plant drink from that, and have that go off like 6 times throughout the day for like a minute or two. and it also will help with like heat and things like that. The water will be at room temperature versus when it's really hot. When that water first comes out at some of these irrigation places like this, the water is really hot. So just some things to think about. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I'm just giving some information and letting you run with it, right? Like teaching you how to fish versus doing all the fishing for you, and just my thought process on things. I don't know everything, but I'm generally good at taking something and building from it. But anyway, so pretty much all my trees get the same sort of treatment. I don't treat this one any different. We have it with the root flare exposed. I'm gonna be going around and putting some mulch on some of these things to get it protected up to about here. You don't really want the sand and stuff, the soil all over that, but mulch is light, airy, and that doesn't really cause a problem. So I do try to get that somewhat covered up with mulch. So I am going to be going through and getting that all done. Soil is the soil, pot, airbag, and the saucer underneath. I whitewash everything, at least the trunk. I do need to get that before I put the soil on, before I put the mulch on. I'll be doing that this week or so. Just the trunk. I'm not gonna do the actual roof layer or anything. But as you can see, this thing is happy. So if it wasn't happy, it wouldn't be looking this fabulous. And that's all it is to it. This area, this spot gets a lot of sun. My house is on the western side, so at like 3 o'clock or so, this whole area for the most part is shaded. This persimmons and citrus, things like that, can handle the sun here for the most part, once established at least. Persimmons is one of those that doesn't necessarily need to be fully established. It really wants as much sun as possible. I'm gonna go around and pick up all these leaves and get that in there, but it really doesn't take much to get a persimmons to grow here. I had one before. It was taken out by the wind. It was just getting ready to fruit. This one I haven't had more than 2 years. I've upgraded my knowledge on things, and this is one of those dormant trees I got with that guy over there. So they're both fruiting. Did I get it last year or the year before? 2 years tops I've had this tree. Not even a full 2 years, if anything. If I didn't get it last year, I got it the year before in like a fall. I don't know. But at any rate, persimmons, super easy to grow. Doesn't take much. If you're thinking about things what grow in climates like ours, you want to get things that are Middle Eastern type trees, the things that are easy. So persimmons, grapes, some of the stone fruits, citrus, olives, those sort of things grow really well in our climates. And then I would start with something like that. I started with the complicated, but so like the first 3 years were a wash. Then the next 3 years I'm in the zone. I figured out, went and watched some of Gary's videos, built upon that, watch all sorts of videos from Arizona, because for some reason people in Vegas and Nevada think that they can't grow anything, but you can. If they're growing in Arizona, you can grow it here. So I would suggest, looking at some videos from that zones, and look at the zone, 9B, 9 in general, and seeing what people do and building on that. But definitely start with some of these easy ones first and go from there.
And citrus are kind of the go-to, like those. Orange juice is so expensive, guys. I go by price.
It's cloudy, so I'm trying to get out here and do as much work as possible. So persimmons, there's multiple types. There's the astringent ones, and there's ones you can eat when they're nice and soft. The ones that can make your mouth all tangy and whatnot.
Now, the last thing is fertilizer. Mostly I use compost and, things from my garden that I'm cycling. And then I give it a slow release fertilizer every 3 months or so. Again, things with pots, depending on how you're doing it, the idea with pots, people want to fertilize once a month because of the nutrients getting out of it. Because I have things at the bottom to collect the water, to collect that fertilizer, it doesn't go anywhere. It stays within the boundaries. My main go-to is Osmocote Plus, slow release fertilizer, and it's pretty much all for this one. Leave me a comment below and a like. It really helps out the channel. And if you have any other questions or concerns, let me know below. Let's grow.